Hey, what's up, and welcome to Mass Muscle TV, bringing the competitors to you. I'm your host, Caleb Ralston, and today we have a very special guest, teen bodybuilding sensation, Nick Wright. So how you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great now that I'm on here.
Yeah, cool, man.
Thanks for having me.
Totally, dude. And for those of you who do not know, Nick is a YouTube crusher and a bodybuilder. He actually started on YouTube back in 2006, just making training videos, posing videos. And now he actually currently has almost 10,000 subscribers and 2.7 million video views. He's also won numerous teen bodybuilding shows and was the runner-up at the 2010 Teenage Mr. Olympia. So he's definitely made a name for himself. He's definitely crushing it. So without any further ado, that was quite an intro. How did you get into bodybuilding?
It's not the typical story most kids have where they started football and got hooked on lifting. I actually had nobody in my family who was into weightlifting, aside from my uncle. How it really happened was I was always really small. As a kid, I was about 104 pounds my freshman year of high school, and I had 11.5-inch arms, so I was petite. And I didn't realize I was petite, though. I had the little dog syndrome thing going on. But you know, it started showing in sports. Once you get older in high school, it starts showing. You don't have the respect in sports. You don't have the strength to really hold your own in the contact sports, and those are the ones I love. And I'd always been into the larger-than-life aspect. Like, I always looked up to Arnold and his movies. Anybody that was just crazy jacked, basically, I was always a huge fan of. It was intriguing. So eventually, I'd always wanted to work out. I was always into the whole body thing. One day I was watching MTV on January 16th, 2006, because I started making a log. It only lasted for like a week, but I remember it. And I was watching TV, and MTV was playing a True Life on bodybuilding, and it just kind of caught my attention. I started Googling bodybuilders, didn't even know what Mr. Olympia and Mr. Universe was, started Googling the images, and was pretty taken back by what I saw, and got hooked. From there on out, the rest was history.
So, of all time, who's your favorite bodybuilder?
Ronnie Coleman. Ronnie Coleman is number one always. He was the first one. He was actually, Dennis James was the first one I saw on images before I knew who any of these guys were. I just saw one shot of Dennis James hitting the most muscular, crazy vascularity. And then I looked up Mr. Olympia and I saw Ronnie. And I started watching some of his videos. And I've been a Ronnie fan ever since.
Yeah, dude, he's an animal. So what is it about bodybuilding that you love so much?
I just thought it was something I could definitely take control over. I wanted to be passionate in a sport, basically. I wanted to have a passion in athletics. My father was basically a world-class marathon runner. His whole office then is filled up with, trophies and medals. And he never pushed me in any sports. He was very supportive and easygoing, so let me try what I wanted to. I tried every different sport, and some I did well, some I kind of liked. I never really had a passion for it, though. I wanted something I could take a true passion in. And I ended up finding bodybuilding. And on top of finding a sport that I could compete in and be passionate about, competitively, it's also like the healthiest way to take control of your insecurities and of your body and turn it around for the best. There's a lot of people who will go the other way and develop like an eating disorder or some unhealthy obsession. Bodybuilding is most definitely taking on an obsessive lifestyle, but it's a complete healthy turnaround. So just control transformation.
Yeah, okay, very cool. Now, a lot of people always ask about training, and so we're going to go kind of in-depth into your training. First off, what is your split for the week?
I personally believe in the 5-day split, and I'm saying that having tried all the different splits you can name. For me, a 5-day split, one body part a week, is what works best for me. I'll do, the days will vary. I might do different routines on different days, but just as an example, it'll be like chest Monday, and then back Tuesday, shoulders Wednesday, legs Thursday, and biceps and triceps are always on Friday because they're the smallest muscle group. I like to train those last so they don't get overtrained later on in the week. And then abs will be done about 3 times a week, and calves ideally twice a week, but I'm trying to get them up more. I'll be honest, I slack a little bit on calves in the past.
Okay. Now, what's your rep scheme? Do you like to go really heavy or maybe higher reps? How does that work for you?
I definitely like going really heavy, and I keep the reps fairly low. I don't do them to the point where it's powerlifting, although I do incorporate some power bodybuilding in there. My typical rep scheme will be between anywhere from beginning at 12 reps for maybe like the warm-up set or the beginning set, and they'll go right down to 8, sometimes even 6 reps. And like I said, on certain lifts, I'll go right down to 4 reps if it's like a power movement. And I think that's what's worked best for me, being a true hard gainer, an ectomorph. I feel going heavy, lower reps, and just really feeling the control and squeeze is what forces muscle mass for my build.
Okay. Now, do you change that leading up to a competition, or do you keep it the same?
No, I don't, actually. That subject came up on the vault series we had out. I keep it heavy all the way up to the show. The only thing that will change is the amount of weight that I consider heavy, because as I get lighter and closer to the show, the more I get dieted down, obviously I'm not pushing as much weight, but I still keep it very heavy. You can see me 3 weeks out, box squatting up to 500 pounds. Of course, on the Smith machine, I keep it safe. I take some more precautions than pre-contest too. Like I use the Smith machine a little bit more just to isolate, since I don't have all my body fat and water weight to cushion the joints so much. But, I still keep it as heavy as I can go.
Okay, cool. Now, what would you say are your favorite exercises?
Number one is definitely the barbell shoulder press. And I vary between seated and standing. That's just always been it. I'm not sure why. It's a random one that most people don't find. It's been a discussion before on the NWD page. But I just like it because there's something about it. You get that push feeling that you get from the bench press, but I don't know, there's something about having it on your shoulders and above your head. It's just ultimate power, I feel like. Even though without all the deadlift, which would probably be number 2, is the bread and butter of power lifts. I love the bench press. I pretty much love every exercise after that. Really, shoulder press is my favorite, and outside of that, they're all fighting for the next number 3 spot. But shoulder press is the only one that really stands out among the rest.
Okay, cool. And then have you ever thought about competing in powerlifting, or is it just like bodybuilding all the way?
I have thought about it, and a lot of people try talking me into it because, like I've said many times, as a bodybuilder, I'm not too strong of one. But every now and then when I do apply myself to doing some power moves, I actually have some pretty decent lifts, or have had some decent lifts for my weight. So I've been talked into trying to do, some people have tried to talk me into powerlifting, just telling me that if I were to just focus on it for a while, I could get my numbers right up to breaking state records, at least back when I was a little bit lighter. But it's very interesting, it's intriguing, I love powerlifting as a sport, I'm a fan of it, but I really can't see myself taking away that much focus from bodybuilding just to focus on powerlifting. I can't see myself doing that anytime soon.
Okay, cool. And then I guess really for young guys, teenage bodybuilders, chest seems to be one of the hardest to develop. What do you do to develop your chest? What basically, like, take us through a Nick Wright massive chest bodybuilding workout.
Well, yeah, I agree with you. For teens, it's definitely hard, and especially for kids with my build. Like I said, I'm ectomorphic. I am ectomorphic, by the way. Some people are trying to argue, say I'm not. I guess that means I've done a good job. But, yeah, chest is definitely my number 1 weak point. I work hard on it, but it's stubborn. And lately, I've been getting a lot of comments saying I've improved it, which is really nice. What I've focused on lately has been the flies, doing heavy flies, and that's really been a chest builder. So a typical chest day might be something like, I'll begin with like the flat bench press, and I'll begin with 135, do a couple warm sets there, and I'll just pyramid my way upward. I'll do 135 for a couple, then 225 for 8 to 10. And some days I'll just stay right at 225. I'll do a couple of sets of that and make it 4 sets total. Some days I'll go up to 245 for a set, and every now and then I'll go up to 275, and I'll only get, a few out of that one. And then I'll move on to dumbbell pressing. If I do flat bench press, I'm going to do incline dumbbell pressing. And I'm already warmed up, so I'll begin with about 60s, work my way up to anywhere from 80s to 90s, and sometimes 100s, depending on how I feel. And that rep range will be, again, 12 to 10 to 8. And sometimes go down to 6 if I go really heavy on it. And then following that will be pretty much flies. I'll do flat dumbbell flies from that point on. And my technique with flies has been a little bit different. Some people will see me with a much more bent arm than what's textbook. And they'll comment and be questioning, is the form wrong? I've found from A, talking to some pros, and B, just trial and error, as long as you have your elbows, your palms, and your arms positioned in the traditional fly way, the fibers will still be moving in the same exact manner. So this will actually allow you to fly more weight without ruining your joints and I've learned that flies are not just an isolation exercise. If you apply them as a mass workout, they really do hit your chest. So then I'll do flat flies at that point, maybe even decline flies. And then I'll move on to probably like a cable move, a cable fly. And that rep range, even for the cables, won't go above 12. I'll still stay fairly happy with that. That'll be a typical chest workout, and I have a new one coming from actual pro bodybuilder I'm not allowed to say yet.
Okay, cool. What? How many sets total do you do? Not extra. Warm-ups, but heavy sets, working sets. How many do you do? Total?
Usually 3 to 4. That's a typical average.
Okay, very cool. Now for cardio, do you do cardio in the off season?
No, I don't. There've been times where I've tried to, but I'll be honest, I just don't like committing myself to cardio in the off season. But I don't really need it too much. Just my genetics, fast metabolism, you know. Harder to put on size, but easy to keep the fat off.
Okay, cool. Now, what do you do for cardio leading up to a show, if you do?
Yeah, actually, the shows I did in 2009, I didn't do any cardio for. Believe it or not. And that's when the 8-week diet works for me. When you're watching, anybody watch the Vault series, they're pretty hyped up. I did the 8-week diet, actually only about 7 to 8 weeks for the first New York show that I initially got sick for. And I was kind of finding that my body, just being 19, going on to 20 next year, actually this year, 2011 now, my body's just kind of catching up to me. Metabolism might be slowing down a bit, so I've bumped my diet regimen up to 12 weeks. But anyway, for cardio, when I do it, will be low intensity always. It will be pretty much 45 minutes to 60 minutes on the treadmill, or 25 to 35 minutes on a stationary bike at a low intensity interval. I like low intensity cardio for holding on the muscle.
Okay, cool. Sweet. So, would you say that that's mainly just for you, or do you think most teenagers don't need to do as much cardio as they do?
Cardio is definitely subjective to your body. I think probably more would need to do cardio than less. Just for myself, I don't need it, but I definitely recommend trying it out if you're a first timer and you're going to do your first competition. Definitely at least try cardio 3 days a week, I would say, and then just judge it from there. If it looks like you're progressing fine, don't really need it, you know, you can either cut it back or increase it.
Okay, cool. Sweet, dude. Now, before we move on to nutrition, let's just real quick talk about how you kind of basically built a name for yourself. First off, I want to know, where did you get the idea of doing the YouTube videos? Because I'm sure you didn't start out thinking, okay, I'm going to turn into like a big, legit, YouTuber.
Yeah.
Just maybe for friends or something?
I hadn't even planned on using YouTube, honestly. It began just with Body Space. I had a Body Space account, and I didn't even know how to really work YouTube. I just wanted to put some videos up on Body Space because we were all networking and tracking progress. Excuse me. And I made one quick posing update video before I even stepped on stage, and I uploaded it through my sister's channel actually, and I posted it on the Body Space. And it was cool seeing some of the feedback from Body Space. I wanted to do some more, and I started uploading maybe a couple on my sister's channel and using hers more or less. She didn't like this when YouTube was still fairly new. Right. And but eventually, just the girly name, whatever it was at that time, plus the Hannah Montana videos, I had to get my own channel. So I made Skondor, which everyone asked. Skondor was the name of a wizard-like creature I came up with when I was about 11 years old in 6th grade. Wow. For a creative writing project. So I just whipped up that name because I didn't think I'd ever use YouTube. And I just uploaded a couple of videos like that, just to stay on YouTube, just so I could explore out my Body Space. Of course, I was like 14, tiny, and I got a lot of bad feedback right off the bat, so I took them down. The channel pretty much stayed dormant for the next few years. Once I did some shows, I uploaded my competition footage and just kind of forgot about it, just like an online file. One day, probably like a year and a half ago, I checked back and realized I had 400 subscribers and 150,000 views just off of 9 videos that I didn't even pay attention to. And that's when I realized that I could do something with this. And at that point, I'd actually, after senior year, after winning the Spirit of America and the Rhode Island show, 4 shows, I decided I was going to be done with bodybuilding. I graduated that summer. I was going to focus on custom car audio installation. I was watching a lot of Steve Mead, who a lot of people online may know. And I got taught him doing the Monster Mash. That's when I, got hooked on the whole bodybuilding career. That's also when I decided that I could do something big with my channel, when I saw what Steve was doing, and I realized that I love bodybuilding too much to quit. that's how it began. Just kind of, it found me. I didn't find it.
Wow. And then how did you take it from like 400 subscribers to like almost 10,000? Is it just like snowballing or?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I was just very interactive, you know. I kept my own style, which I think is a very important thing. The one thing I see some people getting misconstrued is thinking that I'm another online personal trainer, but I'm by no means an online guru or an online personal trainer or nutritionist or anything like that. I don't give out general information to help others. Not that I mind helping others. I just share what I like to do. And I think that was kind of unique because there were a lot of online gurus at that point. There weren't really any amateur bodybuilders that were allowing you to see what they do. You know, only the pro bodybuilders. So I think I was just somebody that people could relate to. I was team bodybuilding, which you don't see too much of. And, you know, I just kind of stayed very interactive with the channel. So I think that just kind of helped.
Very cool. Now, do you believe that that's pretty much the reason for your exposure and for maybe getting a sponsor and just, you know, getting fans and stuff is your YouTube videos?
It's definitely a huge part of it, for sure. I mean, most definitely. It's amazing how many, basically, celebrities YouTube has made at this point.
Yeah.
So, you know, the thing is, people think, because a few years ago, it was just as simple as what you're doing in real life, getting the sponsors, networking, whatever, that's what counts. And anything that you do online, it's just cutesy little online stuff. But nowadays, 2011, it's at the point where online is everything. Online is going to be beating out TV soon. So, yeah, it's helped me. It's definitely helped me. Being 4 times undefeated as a team and runner-up in the men's division twice, and I actually was runner-up in the open men's division NPC. That thing, get the sponsorships, but you can still saying I have X amount of million views that I can review your stuff on. You know, whether it's supplement companies, photographers, but it doesn't matter, whoever it is. It's just extra exposure. So yeah, that only helps to have behind you. But
very cool.
I do it fun, and whatever happens, happens.
That's cool, dude.